so another one bites the dust. Oh, well. I mean, it's like, oh, well. Entertainment is a god. You look at the movie industry and what people spend on entertainment. And a lot of times the idols that we have, they're just in our heart. And at the end of the day, the biggest idol is just King Me. That's who he sacrifices self for self. Amen. Idolatry, he goes on. Witchcraft. Hatred, just being hateful. Your flesh does that automatically. He goes on and says variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions. You know what a seditious individual is? Somebody who has a problem with authority. They're seditious. They cannot have authority in their life. They rise up against it. They speak badly about it all the time. That's our heart. That's our own sin nature. It doesn't want anyone else to be master but self. It's a work of your flesh. And then he goes on to add to that. He says heresies, which is rumors and gossip, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like. Article 134 in the catch-all. Of the which I tell you before, as I've also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. You know what he says? If that's all your life is, if that's all you're filled with, if that's all it is, and Jesus is just this little footnote, you have spiritual issues. You have spiritual problems. By their fruit, you shall know them. Is it just on the lips, or is it in the life? Sunday school, do you rent or do you own? Amen? And did you notice this list for each of us? It's just this automatic thing. It doesn't matter. How many of you have noticed that in your child rearing that your children have this propensity automatically for works of the flesh? How many of you notice that? You ever notice that? Just, join me. Have you noticed that? And grandchildren, have you noticed that? I get a call from my son here a few months ago. We have, as I mentioned, 7 grandchildren. Our oldest grandson is Daniel. Daniel just turned 4. And it was last year, he was still 3 something. And my son Kevin calls me and he says, "Hey, Dad." "Yeah, what's up, Kavinsky? Guess what your grandson just did?" You know, and you can always hear it coming because it's not going to be a compliment. It's my grandson. Never believe what your grandson did. "All right, what do you do, Kevin?" He said, "We were in church yesterday morning. And before the service started, he's running around the auditorium and he's pushing every child he comes to. Boom, he pushes them. Just wiping them out. Boom, 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 boom." I said, "Is he alive?" I said, "What'd you do?" He said, "Well, I grabbed him," and I said, "Daniel, what are you doing?" He looks at me and he says, "I duper man." Okay, now that's grandchildren language, grandpa's known for Superman. Duper man. So Kevin goes, "Daniel, Superman went around helping people and doing good things, not bad things." He said, Daniel looks at him for about 1 or 2 seconds, blinks and says, "I evil duper man." Where did he get that from? It's just his default settings. You know. We were coming out of church in Atlanta. If anybody knows the Prisk family, Jason Prisk is my production guy for the cinematography and stuff. His dad mentored me in ministry, but we were coming out of a church in Atlanta a number of years ago, and as we came out of church, Christina Prisk, Jason's wife, was looking very frustrated and flustered. And my wife said, "What's the matter?" And I'm standing there watching this. And she says, my daughter. And my wife asked which one. And she told her, and Kylie, whatever, I never remember her name. But she said, "What happened?" She said, "Well, here we are, we're in nursery. You know, the DMZ at the Tet Offensive, you know. We're in nursery. We've got 25 kids in nursery. Everybody's fine. It's peaceful. It's 3 or 4 of us watching them. But my daughter, she wants that toy this kid has." And I said, no, she got me. She said, no. And boy, she breaks away from me right in front of everybody. She marches right over, and she looks at the little boy. She said, if you don't share, you're going to hell. And she goes, huh? Where did she get that from? I felt like stepping forward and saying, well, I've met the mother. And the apple never falls too far from the tree. It's the gene pool. Gene. It's the old sin nature. It's a work of the flesh. Did you guys ever notice this? None of you mothers have had to sit down with your darling little daughter on a Monday in her educational experience and have to say something like this. Now, sweetheart, come over here. Come over here. Mommy is going to attempt to teach you a new concept this week. And this is a really hard concept. Some little girls never get it. They go through their teenage years. They never learn it. They work on it, but they just never master it. They get to be full-grown ladies. They just never learn this concept. And so Mommy's going to try her best. You pray for Mommy. She's hoping you figure this out. But Mommy this week is going to try to teach you how to be selfish. And then when you don't give way, be a drama queen. And, you know, it's all. So pray for Mommy. And try to somehow make you a selfish little girl. There's no book on how to be selfish. There probably is. But I mean, you don't have to teach them that. This is automatic. None of you dads have ever had to say to your son, Sonny, come over here. Daddy's going to teach you a new concept this week, boy. And pray for Daddy. Some boys never learn this, but he's going to teach you how to be a liar. How to stretch the truth, make yourself look good when you're really bad. Then when somebody accuses you, you accuse them. Pray for Daddy. Some little boys never learn how to lie. You're kidding me. It's a default setting. It's a work of your flesh. It's what you and I produce automatically in our strength. Amen? You say, but I don't like producing that. Preacher, how can I have a different crop? Number one, get saved. Get in Him. But second of all, then abide in this one you now belong to. For notice what He produces. Look at the second basket in verse 22. But, He says, the fruit of the Spirit is what? As I read this, be prepared. It's going to quiet your heart as I read it. Love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Oh, and against such there is no law. You know what He says? I put no restrictions on the fruit of the Spirit. You're never going to meet me one day and hear me tell you, you know what your problem was? You were just too long-suffering. You were just too kind. I couldn't handle that. You're not going to hear that. Jesus Christ says, I put no restrictions on what I produce, which is the fruit of the Spirit. What's in your heart today? What's in your home? There's the real place, amen? It's not here. You wig out here, we'll throw you out. It's your home. They can't throw you out. It's your home. What goes on behind those walls and that door that declares who you really are? Could you imagine if your pastor did this? You know, you pray for missionaries of the month, right? Missionaries of the week, yeah, prayer. But your pastor, he's decided, I have just a desire to get us praying for each other more. And so Sunday night, we're going to announce a church family of the week. That week, that is the family that all of us are going to be praying for. We're going to dedicate a good portion of our prayer life to pray for that family and everybody in it. But to really understand how to pray, a few days before the family's announced, I'll be sneaking in their house and putting a recording device there for 72 hours. We're going to live stream it to studio. And then Brother Sound, he's going to go and take all of that accumulated data, and he's going to compress it, he's going to get the highlights, and he's going to come up with a 10-minute sound bite that we'll play Sunday night so we can intelligently pray for your marriage and pray for your home and pray for you and your family. And we'll play it for everybody. Now, if you were the family of the week that night, first of all, would you be trying to find that recording and erase it? Second of all, would you even stay once you found out you're the announcer? Would you even stay, or would we ever see you again? And if that really happened, some of you are praying right now. You just got a prayer life. Please, Pastor, don't do this. Don't take this Weirdsmobile evangelist's recommendation. He's just passing through. You've got to live with me. If we did that, what would we learn? What would we hear? And what would we find out about your home? Will Rogers once said this: every person should live their life in such a way that they wouldn't be afraid to lend their parrot to the town gossip. What would we hear? Would we hear works of the flesh? Bitterness, contention, anger, wrath, bad words, carnality? I mean, what would we... Or would we hear fruit of the Spirit? Love, joy, peace. Could I say something real clearly? This has hit me. You know what my spouse needs from me? She doesn't need more works of the flesh. She can get that anytime she wants it by going to the world. You with me? Or flipping on and just grabbing some movie that probably you shouldn't listen to. That's full of works of the flesh. You know what your husband doesn't need from you? Sis, he doesn't need works of the flesh. He doesn't need nagging and anger and wrath. He gets that at the workplace all week long. He gets that automatically when he goes to work. He doesn't need more of that meeting him at the door when he comes home. Teenagers, you know what your parents need? They need fruit of the Spirit. They don't need works of the flesh. Mom and Dad, you know what your kids need? They need fruit of the Spirit, not works of the flesh. You say, yeah, you're right. But how do I get there? 3 little words. Say it with me. Abide in Him. Abide in Him because of the darkness out there. Abide in Him because of oftentimes the lack of fruitfulness in here. Then we close. Abide in Him because of a certain confrontation with Him one day out there. Look in 1 John chapter 2 as we close. In verse 28. He sums it up and says, and now, little children, there it is, abide in Him, that when He shall appear, we may have confidence and not be ashamed before Him at His coming. Christian, I know we sing the song, when we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be. But you understand, before you enter that place and rejoice with your King, you're going to stand before Him and give an answer for how you served Him first. And maybe the tears that are wiped away, that's what it's talking about. The shame. He gave His best. We didn't give our best. Regrets. Because He knows everything about you. He knows every word you've spoken. He knows everything you've done or not done. And by the way, what's done in secret will be shut from the rooftops one day. I say to you this morning, if you're not saved, you need to trust Him. But if you are saved and belong to Him, it's not good enough to just belong to Him. He expects you to abide in Him. Because of the darkness out there, the lack of fruitfulness in here, and the guaranteed confrontation with Him one day up there. And now, little children, He says, abide in Him. That when when he shall appear, we may have confidence and not be ashamed before him at his coming. Let's stand and commit these thoughts to the Lord this morning. Heads are bowed and eyes are closed. Father, we thank you this morning for this little thought that is so huge. And Lord, I pray first of all for the one that's here that does not belong to your Son. They don't even belong to him. I pray today would be the day their faith would just jump across, grab what you have done for their wicked, filthy, sin-sick soul in the sacrifice and person of your Son. May their faith rest not in what they're doing, but in what he's done. Lord, may their faith find a resting place. May they be saved. But then, Father, I pray for your people today. Every one of us that names the name of Jesus Christ. Lord, I pray this morning we would not be content to just simply belong to him. But in a day of deception, in a day of unfruitfulness, Father, in a future day of reckoning, Lord, I pray as your people, we would desire to abide in your Son. And I ask and pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Heads are bowed and eyes are closed. Music's going to play softly.